not to take a position to the extent that they have to go to court to enforce their ruling. It shows clearly that they lost that power to call us together as a body that has an issue to solve. So the way forward, we feel that the Labour Commission should be neutral. We are aware that the chairman is appointed by government, but we expect from our expectation that the body should be a neutral body, and you have the power to tell government that on this call you are wrong, not always finding fault with the unions that are on strike.
So, not always finding faults with the unions that are on strike. At the moment, we're looking at a resolution. The last time we spoke to the unions that were on strike, we were told that you were in contact with your lawyers seeking advice. So, you respected essentially the law or the court order, and you went back to the classroom. But you said you were getting to your lawyers to decide what exactly to do. What is the way forward from there?
The way forward is that as for Labour Commission, we will not take any instruction from them, because they believe that going to court is the issue now. So all of us go to court and resolve the issues at court.
So you were talking to your lawyers at the last time we spoke to you. What are the lawyers saying?
We have not finished our consultation with them, so.
Okay, hang on for me. Let me go to Mr. Austin Gamey. Austin Gamey is a labor expert. Mr. Gamey, you've already said that there is a need for industrial relation training across the board as what will, help solve this problem. But strike actions, I mean, these industrial actions, we've known them for some time now. They don't seem to change, and it tends to go up during election years. Do you see this as any different from what we've seen over the years?
Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Honestly, I do not think we are going to have anything significantly different because the players in this case are all the same. And once they have decided not to go by the principles enunciated in the Labour Act and best practices, obviously we are not going to have any special decency, when it comes to this kind of thing. Across the board, I'm not blaming any side.
You're not blaming any side, but we're looking for a resolution to the matter. But if you look at this specific case, there was an unprecedented part of this, which was that all the teacher unions came together and decided to stick together to do this. That gives them a bigger bargaining power, if you like to put it that way. In this case, the NLC had to go to court to get them to go back to the classroom. Does it look to you like all the avenues for negotiation has broken down?
No, I think it was, honestly, it was a very desperate situation in the case of Labour Commission, because they appear not to have any clue at this material point in time. Why? Because, unfortunately, they are the only statutory body which is supposed to be, not really supposed, they are an impartial body, and therefore they have to perhaps be a little concerned about how they use language at a certain point in time. Unfortunately, when you are to help two parties to resolve differences, and you should upfront say that, well, we have a problem of an illegal strike on our hands. Whichever form it is, once you issue that statement, what it means is that you appear to have taken side. So you've already declared the parties to be conducting themselves illegally, even if they are illegal. What you need to do is to beckon them to come to the meeting. You can find ways and means of bringing their attention to how they could have gone about the matter other than resorting to maybe a cat-call strike. So I think that all of us should be careful. I would rather also advise the labor unions to understand that the only statutory body by law, so established by all of us as a nation, is the National Labour Commission. It is true that the chairman has been selected, not appointed. the chairman of the National Labour Commission actually was appointed by or is appointed by both the labor unions and employers jointly. The president only have a constitutional duty under Article, I believe, 95 or so to swear him in, but the real appointment is not made by the president. And the chairman of the commission cannot and should not, under any circumstance, support the employer or people, as we erroneously call it, government. Government is politically, they occupy a political office, but they are also employers. So I prefer to call them employers.
At this point where we are, it looks like from what you've already said and what we already know, there are entrenched positions. The NLC has an entrenched position because they came from the angle of the law, and they said based on the law, the teacher unions did not do the right things, the things that needed to be done before they went on that strike, and so they declared it illegal. But on the part of the teachers, they're also saying that their grievances have not been met. We put all of that within the context of an election year, and we cannot play the ostrich. We know what happens in an election year. What would you say will be the best way to resolve this matter between these two entrenched positions in 2020 as we've just entered it?
Yes, thank you. To be honest with you, the law court has never and can never resolve any labor-related matter. It can only declare somebody a winner and somebody a loser, and that is not a solution. When it comes to industrial relations, it's a different ballgame altogether. It is not tried, it's not supposed to be handled by the court, by a lawyer who is not trained in industrial relations or an HR astute. If you are not capable of doing that, you leave it alone. That is why in creating in this law, apart from having the National Labour Commission, we have a list of mediators and arbitrators who have the capacity to be able to help parties resolve their differences. It's not all the time that Labour Commission itself will sit on an issue. Now, even to the extent that if you are an essential sector, that means you are considered to be so important in terms of the kind of work you do, and therefore your matter should be resolved within 72 hours when it happens. You can still waive, the parties can still waive their right and request that a mediator, either a sole mediator or a panel of mediators, will sit and help them resolve the differences. You see, if you look at the choice of language I'm using, and say differences, I didn't say conflict. This is a very small matter. This matter between the teachers and the employer is a very tiny issue, minute issue. It can be resolved. But the manner in which we conduct our labor relations matters in this country is very poor, it's not decent, and it will never get well unless we are ready to learn.
I'll come to you. I'll come to you so we look at the bigger picture of the way we resolve labor differences in this country. But I go back to you, Mr. Kwame Kuko, and I want to find out whether you believe that you can take this advice from what Mr. Gamey is saying about appointing a mediator to deal with this matter between you and the NLC. Is this an option you want to go for?
Yes, because at the end of the day, we all want is results. We want to get results. We want our money paid to us. So taking an entrenched position will not help the two of us, the two parties involved. But just that we're very bitter the way NLC went about this whole issue. But the way forward is that we'll be ready to sit down and negotiate this issue properly so that all that we want our money paid to us.
And is this a NAGRAT's position or position by all the teacher unions, the three teacher unions that went on the strike?
All the teacher unions that went on strike, because all we want is that we are not happy declaring strike. It does that at the end of we are pushed to the wall. All we want is that we want our issues resolved.
You want the issues resolved? Okay. Well,
so there's no need taking entrenched position. And then if both of us are taking entrenched position, then who will not have our issues resolved.
So in terms of a negotiator or in terms of a mediator, who will the NAGRAT, or NAGRAT has said, or the teacher unions have said that you're not comfortable with the NLC. It looks like you have some differences there. Who then will you be comfortable with as a mediator in this matter?
That one will be a collective decision that the teacher unions also must meet and take. So I cannot mention any name or any.
Very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Kwame Kuko, for your time. He is the Accra Regional Chairman of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Renee Senyo Kwame Kuko. Mr. Austin, I'm coming back to you so we look at the bigger picture now about how you talk about industrial relation training that is lacking in public sector, among public sector workers. How do we get there? Again, I'm saying this is an election year, and irrespective, it looks to me, of what we know about industrial relations, every election year, persons in the public sector, make demands, knowing very well the political undertones.
Yes, it's obvious. I mean, if the iron is hot, that's the time you should beat it. So clearly, it's something that we have lived with, even in military regimes of past, and Ghanaians have not changed, and so it might not change this time also. All the employer, in this case, which is government, should appreciate the fact that there are people with grievances. Mm-hmm. Government normally, as an employer, do not have the capacity of resolving differences. Some wishy-washy type of things are done. I'm not looking at this present government. Both past and present are the same. And so clearly what it is that there must be a way of getting people to help them resolve the differences. We are 30-something million people in this country, some 14 million people who are adults, and people have been trained differently in handling and knowing how to handle these things. Nobody should feel too big. We should all put our hands onto the wheel and help. Otherwise, it will not be in the interest, especially of government, particularly so when we all know that this is an election year. If we are under pressure, anything can happen. Mm-hmm. So I think that is proper. And the point is that our training regime, like I said, is not decent because, unfortunately, if you watch those who have been doing the training in the tertiary institutions themselves are guilty. Obviously, they go on strike as regularly as possible than anybody else. Mm-hmm. So what do we teach? What do we teach the people? So clearly, there is a problem in this nation, and we can pretend it's not there. One day it will stare at us. So the best thing to do is to agree that we have a common problem. Let's tackle it properly and have people properly, not just lecturing, but in a workshop format. People are made to learn how to negotiate under the law. Our law is very decent, very clear as to how you should conduct negotiation. It's not supposed to be an adversarial approach. It's supposed to be a principled negotiation. And if it's principled negotiation, you cannot go on strike during the time of negotiation. The law is very clear. And should you have problem at any point in time, we have the law beginning from 153, 155, 157. You can have your matter resolved without any acrimony of any kind. Right. Unfortunately, we have impatient people, and that's how we conduct ourselves.
Mr. Gamey, thank you so much for your time this day, and a happy new year to you and a happy holiday as well. Austin Gamey is a labor relations expert, and his point is that, well, the law provides for it has provisions for negotiations, and that you don't necessarily need to go on strike during those negotiations. But if people within the public sector understand the options they have in the law, it will make it easier and remove the acrimony. Hopefully that will happen. And as we've heard the teachers say, going into the new year, as we started, they will be willing to negotiate. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Opia. Share your thoughts with us on that particular story on our WhatsApp line 0540-109-009. That's 0540-109-009. What do you think is the way forward as far as labor agitations are concerned, especially as we've entered an election year?